Ignore that sound in the background. Sam has a treat, and he's chewing on it. And he's being all happy and cute. But I wanted to, kind of talk to you about some social media changes. That first up, I'm gonna show you, just changes that I'm doing. None of them really have anything to do with YouTube, but, okay. Let me quickly do something. So go follow this. This is my Snapchat. I created this. Here's the thing: is that I wanted when I was creating my cartoon emoji thing, because it seemed like fun. I went with a Nickelodeon shirt, and I was very disappointed because they had a Nickelodeon category of clothes and outfits, but they did not have JoJo. So Snapchat or whoever is in charge of that situation, I need you to get on that, fix that, because JoJo is a huge thing for Nickelodeon. She is a huge. Sorry, Sam. Pay attention to me. So, you might want to get on that, but I plan to make some TikToks tomorrow. I have 2 different TikToks in mind, and I'm going to try to make at least 4, because I'm very bad at posting on my TikTok. Also, I'm not promoting it in this video. I will promote it. Well, actually, only go follow it. Lolly Forever 5. Lolly Forever 5. And hey Sam. Yes, I know you had some veggies. And now your breath smells like your veggies. It's actually just straight dog food. But it's nice and healthy for him. And it's just dry dog. Yeah, now you are happy because you all. So yeah, this. I really enjoy setting aside the thought of my crush. I really enjoy that. As hard as that was at first, I enjoy it because the thing was that for me, I'm gonna quickly kind of talk about it because this is a chat video, and Sam decided to take over the bed, so we're just gonna have to work with it. I'll move you like that. Let me. Okay. Let me. Yes, I need space too, Sam. But I want the entire bed to myself. But anyways, I really enjoy setting aside my crush, and what I mean by that, and for so long I felt like it was always something. It was either me constantly thinking about my crush. Let's face it, that hasn't changed too much. But the thing was that I tried many different things, and now I finally feel like my dream thing kind of happened. My dream way of handling losing my crush. Obviously, my dream thing in that category would be to find him again. But it's I'm at a perfect point. And I say that I'm at a perfect point on handling it. Because first, let's face it, the first stage was not good. It was not good for me. It wasn't good for my body. It was just not a good stage. And what I mean by that was, when I first kind of lost him, I handled it by eating my emotions. And mainly junk food. Like cheese puff. Like, I literally would just eat my emotions, and like all throughout the day I'd be like snacking on something or like eating something. Or like I would have like a soda. Hey, I love you. Like, and so like emotionally that wasn't good because I wasn't facing my feelings, and physically that wasn't good because like eating your feelings is not good. Like, if I do love food, I like food. Food can be good. It depends on what kind of food. So, that's fine to, like, love food or like food, you know. But eating your emotions is probably not the greatest choice because it means you're basically not facing your emotions. And if you are, you're not really handling them well. And I don't mean any offense to anyone that, like, eats their emotions. I'm just saying it may not be the healthiest choice for a life path. And please know, whatever reason you're eating your emotion for, you're gonna move on from it one day. It's gonna get easier. Unless someone, like, passed away, then that's not really gonna get easier. It's just gonna eventually get to a point where maybe you can control your emotions a little bit better, but maybe not. Like, and in that case, sorry for your loss. But then, like, I went from, like, that, and then I kind of just one day realized I was laying in bed, and it was, like, early, it was, like, in the morning, not, like, super early, not super late, around 8:30ish. And then I realized I went, like, I need a new, like, thing. I need to face my emotions. Like, because it's better to face them, understand them, than set them aside and try to cover it up with food. And that's what I did literally from that moment on. Like, I went, like, part of me is just sad that I lost him. And that's okay to be sad. Like, I love him, and, like, he's incredible. And, like, basically my dream person, like, that I dream of dating, like, kind of. Literally, I'm not joking. Me and Bella's sister were playing around one day. What I mean by that is, like, we were just, we were painting and, like, doing some arts and crafts. Getting some creativity out in paints, papers, paint, paper, or paintbrushes and water and paper towels. Because that way we could, like, paint with our paintbrushes on paper. And then we could dip in the water and then wipe it with the paper towel. Art. One form of art. Art comes in many forms. And so, like, I literally, like, we both, like, described, like, our dream, like, person that we were dating. And that was also before I realized that, like, I LGBT and, like, and, like, I like boys and girls. Like, that was before I realized. And I don't want that to be a big deal, but I'm, like, happy that it's out there at the same time. Like, part of me is, like, happy that it's out there, and part of me is, like, at first, I went through kind of an awkward stage with that, and I'll explain, because it was a stage to where, like, it was out there and that was good, but then I also at the same time went, like, I really have no interest in dating other than my crush, and I feel like that's good and bad. It's, like, good because, like, obviously, you never want to have, like, a backup person, like, when you, like, have a crush on someone, like, or when you're in a relationship with someone. Yeah, I love you, Sam. Okay, clearly I'm gonna have to move you guys so he can. Okay, we are gonna have to work with that. That's the best I can do because you're on the charger. But like, it was like, I'm good that was out there because it was true, but like, okay, he's getting down. So it was good that it was out there because it was true, but at the same time, like, I really have no interest in anyone other than my crush. And that's good because personally, I don't like people who have a backup, like, person. Then, like, that situation, but then, so, like, kind of, like, for a minute, like, I would say it was awkward for me because of the fact that I went, like, I, I don't know if I'm moving on from my crush, if I'm not, like, that was kind of, like, a thing, and I knew, like, I said that I had moved on, but secretly, like, I knew from the beginning, actually, that nothing had changed. My emotion literally did not change at all, like, towards my crush. But also, why would they? In the sense of, like, why would they change over literally when nothing happened, nothing, like, happened to her that would make them change, and, yeah. Then, so, like, there was that, like, I would get it, like, if it was like, oh, it's like something was said or like if something happened to make my emotion change, but they didn't. It was later like me being like, I don't know what's like not having a crush because I always had someone in that form, kind of, if that makes sense, since I was like 3.5, almost 4. Not joking, when I was 3.5, almost 4, I thought I had a crush on someone, and it lasted a good amount of time. I was considering it lasted, let me do math, almost 3 years. But I realized we were just friends, and nothing more than friends, maybe good friends. And like, we really had nothing that clicked in that way of me like having a crush on him. Yeah, you laying on the mat, Sam. And that's like a thing. Anytime we get some form of like dance mat or something, Sam thinks it's his and decides to just lay on it. You want to go out there? Here, I'll let you out there really quick. Okay. Sorry, Sam wanted to go out there. Let me twist this. Okay. But like, wait, let me fix that really. Sorry. I had to fix him. Let me adjust. There we go. But like, I, in the sense that like then, I moved on from him. It wasn't him, and then I really moved on because of my crush that I have now, who is incredible, and he couldn't be more perfect in my mind. In my mind, he's literally perfect. And that's the thing, is that, like, he's, like, perfect in, like, as in my dream person. Because of the fact that, like, I first up, like, I like it because he's not afraid, like, to share emotions. And I say this so many times because, like, with music class, in a way, it was kind of public. Like, it was basically, like, public, and a couple of times, like, he showed emotions. He was constantly showing emotions, and I liked that. I liked that a lot, because it was, like, I'm not afraid to, like, I show you that I'm mad. I'm not afraid to show you that I'm upset with someone. Like, I'm not afraid to show you I'm happy. Like, in the sense that, like, it was never, like, in a rude way. It would just kind of be, like, you could just tell from, like, the way he was acting sometimes that, like, you could tell if he was having a bad day, if someone maybe said something about him that wasn't cool. If so, and if someone did and they're watching this, I'm sorry, I cannot like you until you, like, get that straightened. And, like, it's not that I can't like you, it's that I physically will not take that. Like, if you said something bad about him. Because I'm that sort of person, like, I'm not gonna like you if you're rude to, like, someone that I care about, or, like, a friend of mine. And in a way, I like to say that, like friends, I very much care about their feelings and stuff, but at the same time, like, it kind of just comes down to where I can only go so far, and honestly, I'm a really good friend about that. I respect it. And I'm the type where if I said something that upset you, you don't, like, scream at me or anything, but, like, calmly bring it up. Like, don't be rude about it, but, like, bring it up to me. Let me apologize. Like, situation. But that was the thing, and I want to show you let me click on. Follow this. This is my Facebook. But, like, that was the thing with, like, then once I kind of faced my emotion with losing my crush, I kind of just never went anywhere from that point. Like, it was kind of just, like, I faced them and I realized that, like, losing him was hard, and that it's okay that it was hard. Like, it makes sense, like, because here's how I like to explain it. Like, this is generally what it feels like. And unfortunately, this is how it feels. Or at least for me, anyway, because I lost my crush. Like, I don't know if he would, like, understand it from my experience, but, like, I in the sense that, like, you won't know my experience with it fully in the way that I feel completely, but this can give you a good idea, which is picture someone, like, the person you love the most, and then, picture being told, like, just randomly waking up one day and being told, you're never gonna see them again. And then picture, or everyone telling you, move on, you'll be over them by tomorrow. Like, tomorrow you won't even remember who they are. Like, I forget about it. You'll find someone new. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, you're just gonna find someone new and move on. And, like, that's being told to you. but like you love them the most, so you like can't move on. You can't forget about them. It's like even if you try, it just doesn't happen, and that's why I like to say. And luckily now I'm at a point to where no one says anything anymore, and that I really love, because when people, like, here's the thing, and I did have like people like my mom who said things like that, but she never meant it in a bad way. She never, like, in her mind she didn't know the full picture, and she was just like, I like, she wasn't doing it to be rude or like to be mean or anything, or to make it seem that way. She just meant it in like a way of that, like, she didn't understand the full picture yet on how extreme I love him. And so that kind of just was something that once she learned, she quit saying things because it clicked that, like, oh wait, it's best to be left alone. And that is like true. That, for me, that is true. The more that people like bring it up, I'm the type where like I love like chatting and like saying it sort of like with you guys on like YouTube, because first up, no one's in the room. So like occasionally Sam will be in the room and that's about it. But like that's the thing, is that like I'm nobody in the room, and it's almost like I'm like saying it and then knowing that it's out there, knowing that you guys are watching this, but without have to deal with a response. It's like it being said with nothing. Like, what I mean by that is it being said with no response, and that's what I really enjoy about it. It's like I don't like getting a response, because with the response, it just doesn't do anything. Like, it literally doesn't do anything. It doesn't make it worse. It doesn't make it better. It does nothing. Unless the response is something about he just called or something. That's the only response that would do anything, and there is actual chances of that, but most likely not. Considering it's been like over 2 years and that hasn't happened yet. But like in the sense that like, don't worry, I actually had permission when like that happened. Like both of my parents said it was fine. Since we like knew, like both of my parents said it was fine, because my mom said it was fine, even though she didn't know him, but she said it was fine because me and my dad knew him like really well. Like really, really well. And the only reason she didn't know him was because she never like took me to music class. I think she took me to music class, well, she came with us to music class like once or twice, and like her and my dad left. Like, because that's kind of like a normal thing. They were going shopping, and like he wasn't there yet. At one time he wasn't going there yet, and then the other time like he came a little bit later. But then like that's my thing, is that like, and so I feel like then after I like faced my emotion, then I went to a third stage that like happened for a little bit. Let's face it, it wasn't a good stage. Denying it. Like, denying it was not a good stage, and I feel like that started actually more towards the beginning of last year. And like around the timing that I started dance, I started like denying, well, right before I started dance, I like would deny it and like think about something else and like all of that. And this stage only lasted for a very, very short time. And what I mean by that is right before I started dance, had the ticket, had a couple, like a week before it started, is when the stage happened. And it was like denying it and just thinking about how the excitement of like starting dance and like with the ALPC, like all of this stuff. And it was like worldwide. It wasn't the master class. Neither one of them. Then so like that was the thing. And where I would just like be like, no, I like kept denying it in my head, but knowing that like it was real. Then I went to the cover up stage. This stage lasted a while. And it was also not like a great stage, but it was better than the rest. And what I mean by that was right when I started dance is when the stage started. And it was where I would like, I almost in a way cover it up and like act like it was a big deal. But also I would cover up like other things. Like I would literally like go back. Like sometimes like this, I still do this tip sometimes. Where like sometimes like right before I like post a music video or something, then I essentially like I would be like getting ready for dance or something, or I would be having a really hard day in dance, and like with acro. Oh, that happened so many times with acro class. I would literally like go back to the memory of him telling me how good I am singing, and like that sort of like memory. I would go back to them and play them in my head throughout the entire moment of like what was happening. So I would be able to like in the sense that like I would be doing whatever like I was doing, like acro class or like posting a music video or recording a music video, like that situation. But in my head, I'm also playing these memories back. And then and I still do this sometimes, because sometimes there's just moments in acro where I don't feel like hearing people, but I want to hear my crush, and these moments just kind of help me, and they give me that little like extra boost that I need to like make it through acro class or something, and yeah, and that's really cool, and it kind of works because then, and I'm like, my mind is separated into two things, so I'm not putting all my focus on one. It's like kind of split, but in a good way, to where like where like whatever I'm like working on is getting like what it needs, and then while also having a little bit of something, so I'm not like entirely focused on one thing and getting annoyed over the one thing. So like with acro class, I did that so many times. I still do this times where I'll like focus on like working on whatever I'm working on, and then at the same time I also like think back on like those moments with my crush where he would like tell me how good I am at singing and like encourage me to like sing and all of this, and that happens. And that's really good. Then there was a stage where when I came out, and that I kind of at that point knew for a while, but then I never said anything, and I feel like I wanted to experience not having a crush, and that went down the drain. That was actually, I don't even fully know what happened, but literally that lasted 2 days and never went anywhere. Like, I literally, like 2 days, I got so excited, I, came out, and then, for 2 days, I, didn't have I didn't have a crush on my crush, but in my heart, I still did. But my words and my mind were telling me to just say that I didn't, just so I could experience not having a crush, which also I didn't get the full experience because my heart still had a crush on him. And then, so yeah, that was a thing, but I would say then, and once I kind of just said okay, at first I thought it was my way of coming out, but then I'm oh it's weird for me to just come out, and it just seemed kind of in the point of where I was covering up to come out, but that's not true. And now I'm at the perfect stage because now I knocked out all distractions, and so I can focus on becoming a pop star. And it worked because now it's I still have a crush on my crush without it being this huge distraction, and it's almost now it's gotten to a point where it's if he's meant to come back into my life, he will. I'm not gonna sit back and obsess over or as much as that is hard for me to not do. But it's good. And now I made the right decision. And he's still there in my mind, just not my main focus anymore. And now I'm working really hard on becoming a pop star. I might make a part 2 to this.